Hi, welcome back to this 6-module series on the topic of strategic leadership. We are about to start module 4, which is on the topic of setting priorities and goals. So far we've already taken a look at module 1, which is as a strategic leader, we need to have a vision and a purpose. So module 2 was on strategic thinking and how to put a strategic plan together that helps you to achieve your vision. Module 3, we talked about decision-making and how to make good decisions to help define your vision and your strategic plan, but of course you'll use decision-making throughout your time as a leader. And now we're moving on to setting priorities and goals. How do we set priorities and goals that are in alignment with our strategy, that support our strategy, and ultimately our vision? So the objectives for this module are pretty simple. First is to learn and practice how to set priorities and goals. How do we go about doing that? And secondly, give you some practice in goal setting related to your specific ministry vision and your specific strategy focus areas that you've already been developing throughout this course. So in this first part, we'll just provide an overview and a simple case study to begin with. So let me start out with a poll again and just ask this question. Take a second to think about it. How many ministry goals do you typically set each year? Do you normally try to set one goal for the year for your team, or do you set 2 to 3 goals for the team for the year, or maybe 4 to 6 goals for the year, or do you set 7 or more goals for the year? What do you normally do? How many goals do you normally set? Now there's a fair amount of research out there that'll tell you that if you try to focus on, I'd say 5 to 7 or more goals at the same time, you're likely to have a very difficult time achieving those goals. Why? Because it's a lot to focus on at the same time. And similar research tends to point out that having actually somewhere between 1 and 3 goals is probably much more ideal, right? Because it allows you to focus in on what's most important. When you think about it, the more things you're trying to focus on and accomplish at the same time, there are 2 things that are likely to happen. You're either likely to not achieve the goals at all, or you're likely to achieve them, but not at a very high level of quality. There are actually 2 most common reasons why people fail to meet their goals in general. One is that their goals were unrealistic to begin with. And the second reason is actually that they set too many goals. They just couldn't focus on all those things at the same time. So my suggestion to you is to think about possibly setting somewhere between 1 and 3 goals for your team at any given time. And of course, whenever you feel like you've achieved a particular goal, go ahead and set a new one. But the degree to which you can focus is incredibly helpful. And on that same note, here's a few benefits of setting priorities. One is that when we set priorities, it should directly help support our overall vision and purpose, because our priorities should be in alignment with that vision and purpose. Setting priorities also allows us to define our future. Whatever our priorities are, whatever we're spending most of our time on, is really probably going to be the direction that we're heading and what we're going to accomplish. So it defines our future. Setting priorities also should allow us to limit our choice of actions, right? Like I just said, if you have too many priorities and too many goals, it doesn't limit your choice of actions, and there's too many possible things to do out there, and it gets overwhelming. Setting priorities allows you to focus and to excel, and that's probably the most important thing. Focus on what's most important and do it really well. And lastly, prioritizing hopefully should allow you to point at and focus on what is actually the best thing to do instead of what's just a good thing to do. What's the best thing to do? So at this point, I'd like to give you a chance to take a few minutes and think through this case study. Once this video clip is over, you're going to get this same case study for you to look at. And I'd like you to just spend a few minutes, think about it, and write down how you would respond. So this case study says, read the example below and write down how you would go about prioritizing your time. So in this situation, it's assumed that you're in some sort of ministry role. And I'll read it quickly here, but you're going to have the text written out after this video as well. So this case study says it's January 1st, and you already have a full year of ministry opportunities ahead. You've been asked to staff a 6-week school starting in April. You need to recruit 2 more staff for your current ministry. your current ministry needs 500 US dollars more per month of additional support raised. You'd like to complete a 1-year coaching certification that starts in March, and you feel like God is challenging you to expand your ministry by starting a community drop-in center. So now take a few minutes. After this video, you'll get more instructions and see how you'd answer this case study example.